told you that Matt was going to start taking the morning/afternoon shifts, and then I would take the evenings and then the weekends, because that's going to get him used to what I'm going to go through every day for most of the days that he's at work, because he goes back to work in a little over a month, and plus he hadn't been spending a lot of time with her, and so I felt that this would be a way that he would kind of have to spend a little more time with her, and it worked, playing with her more and stuff, but he's still stuck on games, but I'll get into that in a second. For 2 weeks he would take care of her up until 4:30, and then I would take care of her in the evenings and on the weekends, and that went okay, but I was still struggling to get videos done. So to be nice, he volunteered and said, okay, well, I will do all day changing, feedings, you know, I'll play with her a little bit, and so on and so forth. And so he still wasn't playing with her enough, so I would sometimes get distracted and want to play with her anyway. He was also doing that for me so that it would help me with trying to get into an editing schedule so I wouldn't be so stressed out, and so that I could give honesty more attention. But we were noticing that wasn't working out either, because during the day I would be tempted to spend time with her. On weekends I would mind her all day, all night, even overnight. And so I was tired, I was getting lethargic, I was stressed out for things that were happening. And so Matt was like, that's when he said, okay, well, I'll do, you know, all day, every day except for the weekends. And he took a couple of my overnight shifts for the weekend. And then I still couldn't get on a good schedule. Like, I just kept procrastinating due to lethargy, stress, tiredness, you name it. I just let myself feel that stuff. I'm all about feeling what you're feeling. Let those feelings surface, don't suppress it. Although I did try and suppress it, and I was trying to be positive and make my fitness videos and all that stuff perfect. And although I still showed, you know, authenticity, and I was always honest, you know, I'm not that motivated, or, you know, I didn't work out 6 days, I only worked out 4 or 5, that kind of thing. Like, I was always open about it, but at the same time I was pushing myself when I needed to take a breather. I just didn't listen. No matter where or how we tried to get Honesty to nap, the longest period she would nap would be about 30 minutes. Once she actually started napping, before that, we couldn't even get her to nap for some reason, except maybe like once a day. So now she has 2 or 3 naps a day, and it just depends on how tired she is. Sometimes she'll skip a morning nap, sometimes she'll skip an evening nap, sometimes she'll skip the afternoon. It just depends. Even at night, things were getting bad. Like, she wasn't sleeping through the night anymore. First, we realized it was because of Costco Kirkland diapers. I don't know why we never thought of this. But she would wake up soaked, we'd have to change her, then she wouldn't go back to sleep for 30 minutes to an hour. And that would play on us emotionally, and we were stressed and tired, and she was tired. It was ridiculous. Then the next issue, once we switched to the 12-hour Pampers, she was waking up every hour, 2 hours mostly, and every hour. And it was because the soother would fall out and she'd need us to put it back in. And we're like, what the heck, man? During her naps, we had gotten rid of the swaddle, and we would leave her hands free, and she could easily, if the soother was near her, put it in her mouth, and that would be it. But nope, she wouldn't. She would wake up from a nap and she'd need us to immediately put the soother in, and wouldn't go back to sleep after the 30 minutes. No matter what we tried. We tried putting mitts on her so she couldn't take the soother out, or couldn't, you know, she could hit it, but she wouldn't for some reason when she had those mitts on. And then when she had the swaddle on, she obviously wouldn't have her hands up there, but because she'd get into a deep sleep, she'd drop the soother. She'd be waking us up, like I said, every hour or 2 during the night. We tried a bunch of different methods to get her to sleep. We kept her with the sleeping aids, the routine that I would do at night with her where she would have her bottle, lay on my chest with me playing music, lullaby, Bram's Lullaby by Jewel, and I'd sing along with it sometimes. And that's what she's been doing basically since she came home from the hospital, whether it was with my breast or with a bottle. And she loved that. The thing is that that's a sleep association, and so when you give a baby too many sleep associations, even the no cry napping solution said this, the problem is that if you change the environment from what the environment was before they fell asleep, such as holding her, rocking her, singing to her in my arms, when she wakes up in that big crib, to them, you know, it's big, and mom's not there, they are upset. So we had to start putting her in the crib drowsy, but not asleep. And so that's why she was waking up. But the problem was that even though we do that with her in the swaddle and the soother, she'd still wake up. We had also tried the whole method where you put the baby down drowsy, you had rocked them, did whatever the sleep associations were that you wanted to do, and you put them down, you leave for 2 minutes. If they're crying, you go back in, soothe them for a minute, leave for another 2 minutes. You do that a few times, then you increase it to 5. I couldn't get past 5. We could have kept trying, sure, but I wasn't ready for that, and it would really upset me and hurt me that she was upset. And like, I would be angry, like I would feel furious. I'll get more into that after when I'm talking about my update, but honesty just couldn't, like, it would get worse. Every time we went in there, she'd cry more. All the sleeping aids, she'd cry more if we tried to leave. It just wasn't working. So we ended up just stopping all those other things and decided to do something drastic. On March 21st, we started weaning Honesty off the soother and the swaddle soon after. After a week and a half, she was sleeping in her own room without any aids. Even being in our room was a sleep aid. We were a sleep aid because she knew we were nearby. So we had to do that, and we just knew this was going to be better because Matt's going back to work in a month and a half, and he would be hearing her, it would wake him up, he wouldn't be efficient at work. We knew that it would be a good idea to start trying because he's our main source of income, and if he can't function and things get really bad, he might not have a job. So we knew something had to be done, and yes, we decided to try the cry it out method. I know I said I was dead set against it and I would never let him convince me to do it. It wasn't him, I actually convinced myself. Just because we had tried a bunch of other things and it wasn't working for her. It was just making things worse. I had a me day and Matt was like, I'm starting the cry it out. And that's that. So I call him to check on her and he's like, yeah, she cried for a straight hour. This was with her not having a soother, not having a swaddle, not having anything. Because she had not had a soother, but she was still waking up and crying and so on and so forth. So we're like, it's got to be the swaddle. Once we got rid of the swaddle, it just, wow, like, he was like an hour at nap time. Which they say nap time, they tend to be harder to get to sleep anyway because it's the nighttime sleep and the afternoon sleep or daytime sleep are just governed by two different mechanisms in the brain or such. And so she wouldn't quite understand that it's just like sleep is sleep, you need it, you know, kind of thing. But Matt did that, and an hour later she fell asleep. No aids, nothing. And I know if I were here, I wouldn't have let that happen. Nope. The second time she cried for 45 minutes, and that was at night for her nighttime sleep. She was still in her room at this point, And then we're like, oh, well, maybe that's the sleeping aid too. So as you can probably tell, I had to switch cameras. The other one overheated. On the 22nd, I believe I was taking care of her that day. Or no, I'm not sure. No, I think it was Matt. But either way, it was nighttime. And I couldn't do it. She had been crying. She cried it out at nap time. And it was only like for 15 minutes. And then by the time 20 minutes came, when she was trying to go to sleep at night, I couldn't have it. I was exhausted emotionally on the inside, feeling like, no, I can't do this to her. I just can't do this to her. And so I went and got her, and I cuddled her, and I kissed her, and I gave her a tiny, tiny little bit of water, and changed her diaper, and like talked to her and tried calming her down, and she did really well. She was really calm. And then I took her into our bed, and I wasn't even ready. And then the next day we just went back to swaddle, soothe her, everything. And then we realized we were back where we started. So we're like, okay, whatever. I guess we're gonna just have to do the cry it out method because it's just getting worse. I literally, in order to do this, and I know there's gonna be people judging me and maybe unsubscribing, whatever, do what you wish. But I'm a loving mother, I'm a caring mother. This does not make me a horrible person. It's just we needed to do what we needed to do to survive as parents and to have her get her sleep as well. We had to let her cry it out, and actually it was really difficult for me because we started doing it again on a day where Matt was going to his friend's house, and I remember the feeling. At first I was sad, and then I was like, I gotta go get her, and I was anxious. I was having a full-out anxiety attack, and then I was like, I can't. We said if we're gonna start this again, because we had already done it at naps, we can't keep switching back and forth and confusing her. So I was like, I gotta do this. And so I sat there, and I reverted to what I usually do, which is stress eat, binge eating disorder. I've been diagnosed with it. I took a container of dried mango, and the whole thing, I sat there and numbed out, and this is ridiculous, like, it shouldn't have been that hard. I numbed out, and then within close to an hour, it was 50 minutes, she stopped crying, she fell asleep, and she slept through the night. For most of that time, I felt completely horrible until the food numbed me out. And I still felt horrible, but then the next day, she was asleep within like 30 minutes for naps, and then 20 minutes for her nighttime sleep. Within a week and a half, no sleeping aids, a new nighttime routine, sleeping in her own room. She's now sleeping at night within 5 minutes, most of the time. Sometimes 8, sometimes less, of crying. Like a little bit of whimpering, not that really bad at nighttime. Now during nap time, it's a different story. It's usually 20 minutes. We do not let her cry past 20 minutes. If she doesn't fall asleep within the 20 minutes, we go and get her, and that's that. But more times than not, she'll nap, and she will nap for anywhere between 30 minutes and 2 hours. We're like, holy crap, wow. Like, everything just got better. Like, her eating habits were better, her sleeping habits were better, everything. This is all like a learning process, and we're learning, I'll tell you that much. We're not just shoving her in the crib. Whenever she has a nap, whenever she goes to bed, she's fed, she's changed, she's been cuddled, she's been played with, she's whatever, or she's played on her own, something. Like, she's always, those main things, she's at least been changed and she's fed, and she's had time with us. And we don't leave the room without saying have a good sleep and without giving her a kiss and all that stuff. That always happens at night or during nap time. During nap time, we're very brief. We change her, we talk softly to her still. She's in her room, there's a little bit of light where it's daylight savings time, but she still goes to sleep usually. And we're actually going to get a shade for the window so that it keeps it dark in there at all times, so that, you know, she will nap and sleep. It'll be great. This is how the nighttime routine goes. First, actually, I give her that snack bottle of 5 ounces at 7 o'clock. This is a typical night. 7 o'clock, I give her the snack bottle. We sit her on her puzzle piece mat and we dim the lights and we play with her very gently, or she plays with a couple of toys. Then by 8 o'clock, we sit down or lay down beside her while she's sitting on the mat, and we recap her day for her from morning until she goes to bed. And she doesn't always look at us, but is still cute nonetheless. She's usually pretty tired by that time, but it keeps her up, and she isn't using her bottle as a sleeping aid. From there, we bring her downstairs, we change her diaper, we talk softly to her with a dim light on. We kiss her and we tell her we love her, and then we put her in the crib seated and we read her a story, and then we lay her on her back. She rolls over to her tummy. She will rarely sleep on her back in that crib. I'm pretty sure that's also another reason why she wasn't liking the other sleeping aids, because one, the swaddle she couldn't turn over in it, and she just wasn't comfortable on her back. And where she's over 6 months, the SIDS risk is a lot less, and we've got our camera so we can see if things are going on usually, and so we're okay with her rolling over to her belly or her side, and she, like, within 5 minutes on average, she's out like a light at night. It's so great. That's with very little loud crying, and then some slight wailing, and then eventually she's just out. And she'll be out for the night from 8:30, 8:40 p.m. up until basically 7 or 8 a.m. It's crazy. So she's basically back to the sleep schedule she was on before the soother and the diapers started playing with her and waking her up. She sits up unassisted. She can't get into sitting position on her own, but when we put her in sitting position, she sits up on her own. When she first started, she would lean forward a lot and then like fall over to the side. But eventually she wasn't leaning forward as much, and wasn't falling to the side as much, but still.
Hey, Honesty, what are you doing? Are you playing with your toys? Is Honesty playing with her toys? He paws. Oop. Honesty fell. Honesty fell.
We've been encouraging her to crawl because she showed a few signs that she wanted to start trying to get on her knees. And when she did that, we regrettably didn't get barely any video, if any, of her actually trying to get on her knees. And then next thing you know, when she was trying to do that, she figured something out where she was able to push herself backwards, and she's like, whoa, not only can I roll now, but to get around I can push myself backwards. So instead of going forward, she kind of military crawls backwards a bit. Not full military crawl, just kind of like a glide. Anyway, it's pretty funny, and sometimes she'll get frustrated because she wants something in front of her, but she's pushing herself backwards, so she ends up getting further away from the object, and it's too cute. There's something else she does.
Go get it.
She didn't start doing it until after the
What
third,
did
so
she
you're
just
going to
say
find
no?
out what she did starting on the 5th of April in the next update. Oh my gosh, it's super amazing. I'll tell you that it's a big milestone, but that's what I'll leave it at for now. She also does something that looks like dancing, and it is super adorable. There, dance, girly! You dance, girl! We're sure she started dancing because she saw us doing hip-hop abs almost every day, and so of course she's gonna want to move or whatever, and babies just tend to like music anyway, so if she hears a noise that sounds like music or she just kind of feels like dancing, she'll do it. It's super cute. She also started standing really well, assisted. She doesn't do it unassisted yet. When she's using us to hold her up, she is solid, and she will just like stand there, and sometimes she prefers being in standing position. She also does it a little bit on the chair. Here's a little clip of that.
Wow.
Hold on for dear life.
Good job, Honesty. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. She's doing amazing things. She's hitting so many milestones. I can't contain my happiness. We notice our cat Boots is getting kind of close to her. Like, I don't know, like he's protecting her. He just loves her like he loves us. He likes to sit near her and stuff, but we have to supervise because there's been a couple times where he's kind of swatted at her. He doesn't let the nails out or anything, but it worries me that he might, and so we supervise. A lot of people will be like, oh my god, don't let her near the cat and stuff. But the only reason why he does it, he doesn't just do it out of nowhere. He will only swat if she's either pulled his tail or pulled his fur. He does not like that at all. And so we stay really close when they're around each other. But it's super cute because you can tell they just adore each other. They just don't know how to interact around one another yet. So that'll come in time. Aww. Are you playing with the kitty? Are you playing with Boots? Don't rip his ear. Uh-oh. Oh god. This is a thing we're gonna let play out. He's like, okay, oh, I'll just go over here, give her my tail. You want her to pull your tail now? No, Boots! He almost swatted at her. Honesty. Careful.
He's got boots on his feet. Is that boots? Yes, it is. That's boots. Do you want a pet Boots? Do you want a pet Boots?